Hello again, I'm Sue and this is the second of the video series to help you construct the Helen linen tunic. This video refers to either version, either with or without the collar, and we'll be focusing on finishing the cuffs, the side seam and the hems. First, a quick reminder that seam allowances are 1.5 centimetres unless otherwise advised. Use the magic marker where suggested. The care label has been provided on an offcut of fabric, so trim and zigzag this before attaching to your garment. And as with the designer label, it will absorb dye if you decide to garment dye your tunic. So if you're going to dye a dark colour, I'd suggest you attach your labels after dyeing, or you won't be able to see the print on them. Only use cotton thread supplied, as this will dye to match the colour of your garment if you choose to garment dye. It's also friendlier for the environment because it's not a plastic, so it will biodegrade. You have used all the pre-cut pieces of your kit now, so the only remaining pieces left to be used are the two labels, the care label and the brand label. Before you sew the side seams, it's best to press some creases into the cuff while the garment is flat, while the cuff can be opened out flat and put on the ironing board. So first of all, fold in on the edge of each cuff 1.5 centimetres and press this with a 2-dot or medium heat iron. Then fold to the inside and press in half lengthways each cuff so that you have a crease down the middle. Now open the cuff out and pin the sides together all the way from the cuff edge down to the lower notch near the hem. You need to sew a 1.5 centimetre seam from the cuff edge down to the bottom notch and backstitch at this notch. This denotes where the opening of the vent is going to be. Now clip all the way around the curved edges, making sure that you don't snip through your seam. Use the tip of your iron to press open these seams. Using the creases formed earlier as guidelines, fold in half each cuff and tuck under the 1.5 centimetres that has a crease on it and pin in place all the way around. Now turn your garment the right way around and on the right side of the cuff edge, top stitch down the cuff on the sleeve side 1 millimetre or 2 millimetres away from where the cuff joins the sleeve, and then top stitch the very edge of the cuff, again parallel to the edge of the cuff, just 1 or 2 millimetres from the edge. Then trim off all the loose threads. So now we're on to the final stage, which is the hem. Start by pressing under 5 millimetres at the bottom edge. Then turn the hem to the right side of the tunic and stitch up the 1.5 centimetre crease that you'll have at the side of the vent. Backstitch in place just over your little 5 millimetre turning. Turn the hem the right way round and push your corner square very gently with some embroidery scissors or similar. Be careful not to puncture the corner. Press your 3 centimetre hem down on the front and back panels, and then on the inside stitch down just 1 or 2 millimetres from the folded edge to hold your hem in place. Now on the right side you're going to secure down either side of the vent, so starting at the hem and stitching up, stitch a line parallel 1 centimetre to the side of the vent, and then as you reach the top, do a 45-degree line of stitching towards the seam, backstitch this area and then spin on the needle so that you're facing the other direction, pointing down, stitch 45 degrees down in this direction and backstitch again. You'll have created an inverted V. Then continue all the way down the other side of the vent until you get to the bottom. Then finish off with your last bit of backstitching. Finally, to your labels. The care label needs to be trimmed to size, leaving a little border around the edge. Zigzag or overlock the edges, and this can be attached to an internal open side seam. The designer label either stitch down at the back neck, centre back neck, or sometimes I put the designer label on the outside hem of the Helen tunic. You need to consider whether you're going to leave your garment white or whether you're going to garment dye any colour. If it's pale, as you can see in the pink diagram, it doesn't matter if you attach your labels at this stage because you'll still be able to see the print. But if you're going to dye a very dark colour, I suggest that you attach your labels after dyeing. And there you have it, your versatile Helen linen tunic, either ready to wash and wear or to dye and wear. If you're going to garment dye your product or tie dye it, please do follow the video instructions on YouTube. There are basic instructions on the back of the dye packs, but for professional results you would be much better to follow our YouTube instructions. We would love to see your results, so please do tag us at #CutCoutureKit, #SoNaturallyStylish. Thank you for purchasing from Couture Kit, and I hope you have many years of enjoyment from your product.